Ayanokoji Kiyotaka is the epitome of not giving a damn about what anybody thinks. Hell, this guy makes even the most nonchalant individuals seem overly worried. Now obviously, Ayanokoji is a fictional character, and in real life, it is completely normal and to some extent healthy to worry about the opinions of other people due to evolutionary biology. But the problem is that most of us get too caught up in these opinions, letting them dominate our actions and emotions. In this guide, I want to teach you about the 5 principles to stop being controlled by people you don't even respect and ultimately give you true freedom. However, before we start, be aware that this video will not be your usual surface-level self-improvement video. If you just want to be entertained for a few minutes, you are in the wrong place. This is an actual comprehensive and research-backed guide, and for the first tool, we will take a direction you would most likely not have expected. So, if you're ready for this in-depth exploration, let's lock in. Now, what the hell does working memory have to do with anything? Well, as it turns out, working memory and selective attention are interconnected. As your working memory capacity improves, your ability to filter and prioritize goal-relevant information also increases. This makes it easier to focus on what truly matters to you and ignore irrelevant distractions, including negative opinions from others. But how do you improve working memory? First, you have to understand the relationship between working memory and dopamine. There are neurons in the brainstem which manufacture dopamine, and they send their axons to the prefrontal cortex. The amount of dopamine released in a certain amount of time strongly dictates the extent to which working memory capacity is going to be high, medium, or low. The good news is that there are things you can do to improve dopamine transmission and thus your working memory, but before it is important to note that these tools will primarily benefit those with low dopamine baseline levels. First, Yoga Nidra, also known as yogic sleep, is a form of guided meditation, which has been shown in quality peer-reviewed studies to increase dopamine stores by up to 60%. The relaxation technique combines guided mental imagery with a specific yoga posture called Shavasana. You can try out Yoga Nidra scripts completely free on YouTube. For example, you could check out the videos of Kelly Boys. Also, it has been shown that the use of binaural beats can result in small to moderate improvements in working memory performance. In the research, they found the small but significant improvements when participants listened to 15 and 40 Hz binaural beats. As of right now, we don't know the relationship between dopamine and binaural beats, but I think it is worth trying out because of its non-pharmacological and zero-cost nature. Other than that, cold exposure, such as taking cold showers or engaging in ice baths, also triggers the release of dopamine, so you might want to get in the cold every once in a while. While improving your working memory helps in handling information and stress, it's also crucial to address how you process negative emotions. So for that, let's use some lessons from narrative therapy. Narrative therapy focuses on helping individuals separate themselves from their problems so that they can view issues as external rather than inherent to their identity. One effective technique within this framework is journaling for externalization, because engaging in reflective writing activates the prefrontal cortex, which is involved in executive functions such as emotional regulation. Writing about stressful experiences has even been shown to reduce the physiological markers of stress, such as cortisol levels. Here's how you can practice journaling for externalization at home. Start by identifying specific concerns you have regarding others' opinions, whether it's a general fear of judgment or specific instances where you felt judged. Next, personify the concern by giving it a name. Imagine it as a separate entity with its own voice. Then, start your journal entry by addressing the concern directly, as if it were speaking to you. Use prompts like, "The fear of judgment is trying to tell me," or "The worry about others' opinions makes me feel." After that, write a dialogue between yourself and the concern. I know this might sound a little weird at first, but this works, so give it a chance. Just ask it questions and respond as you would in a conversation. For example, you might write, "Why do you always make me feel so insecure?" And then have the fear of judgment respond, "I do this because I want to protect you from being alone." Continue this back and forth to explore the concern's motivations and impacts. Then it's time to reflect on specific instances where the concern has influenced your behavior, thoughts, or emotions. For example, "Because of this fear, I often avoid speaking up in class," or "This worry makes me second-guess my decisions, even when I'm confident in them." Finally, challenge the validity and helpfulness of the concern by writing counter-arguments to its messages, and create a new narrative where the concern has less power over you. Describe how you would act or feel without this concern dominating your thoughts. Once you make this journaling practice a regular habit, you will have built an immense foundation for not caring. But have you ever considered that facing your worst fears in your mind could free you from them in real life? Negative visualization is a powerful mental technique rooted in Stoic philosophy that involves imagining the worst-case scenarios of situations you fear. This helps because you get desensitized to the scenario, which will, at least to some extent, diminish the intensity of emotional responses in real-life situations. To practice negative visualization, follow these steps. Start by identifying a specific situation where you fear being judged. This could be anything from a presentation at school to a social event where you feel anxious about others' opinions. Clearly define this fear in your mind and be as specific as possible. Instead of a vague fear of public speaking, think of a particular presentation or meeting where this fear might manifest. Next, close your eyes and visualize the worst possible outcome of this situation. Imagine it in vivid detail. What happens? What do people say or do? And how do you feel in this scenario? Picture the scene thoroughly, while noting every detail that comes to mind, and don't forget to try to engage all your senses. Think about what you might see, hear, smell, and even touch in this worst-case scenario. The more detailed your visualization, the more effective the exercise will be. Also, allow yourself to fully experience the emotions that arise from this visualization. It's perfectly okay to feel anxious, embarrassed, or upset. Just acknowledge these feelings, because through that, you can confront and process your emotions, which will make them less overwhelming. Then, reflect on your ability to cope with the worst-case scenario. Remind yourself that, in most cases, the fear is not even that justified, because often, our minds exaggerate the potential negative outcomes. And don't forget to consider experiences where you managed a similar difficult situation. When you faced the scenario before, did it turn out as bad as you imagined it? Finally, think about what actions you can take to mitigate the worst-case scenario. This proactive step can help reduce the fear of the unknown and give you a sense of control over the situation. Having explored how negative visualization can help you manage fears, the next step is to shift your attention to what truly matters in your life. One of the most effective ways to stop caring about what other people think is to find a purpose or bigger goal that genuinely matters to you. When you have something significant to focus on, the opinions of others naturally become less relevant. Now, how do you find your purpose? Begin with self-reflection. Ask yourself questions like, what am I passionate about? What issues do I care deeply about? What activities make me lose track of time? Then, evaluate your skills and strengths by considering what you are good at and what others often seek your help with. But most importantly, think about the legacy you want to leave behind. If you are unsure, don't be afraid to try new things and explore different interests. You can always take up new hobbies or even engage in some volunteer work. This is something you should take your time with, because finding your purpose will not only enhance your well-being, but also lead you to live a more authentic life. Though, to truly master the art of not caring about what others think, we need to broaden our view even further. Time perspective refers to the way we view our past, present, and future. Our current problems often seem monumental because we are so immersed in them, but when we broaden our perspective to include the entirety of our life experiences, these problems often shrink in significance. A good way to visualize this is to think of your life as a flowing river. Each event, whether positive or negative, creates ripples. Some ripples are larger and last longer, but eventually, they all blend into the ongoing flow of the river. Today's challenges are just ripples in your life. They may disturb the surface temporarily, but they do not change the course of the river. So, the next time you have to deal with a situation, such as a malfunctioning school projector during an important presentation, ask yourself how significant this issue will be in a month, a year, or 5 years. At the moment, this can feel catastrophic. You might worry about how it affects your grades, or what your peers think of you. However, in the grand scheme of your life, this is just a minor deviation. Years from now, it will likely be an event you barely remember, if at all. By the way, if you want to watch in-depth breakdowns like this earlier than anyone else, get access to exclusive quizzes and key points, and be able to read a lot of other exclusive additions to my videos, join the channel today and become an educated mind.